Greetings, YouTube. Been a hot minute since we've done one of these, other than a VOD of a live show or recording. So first off, Syrinscape blaring in the backgrounds. If you have not checked them out, there will be a link in the description below. Highly recommend them for all your tabletop needs, sound-wise, sonically speaking. Going to be running through Carbon 2185. How to create a character. We have had the honor of this lovely game in our hands for quite some time now. We've looked through the CRB extensively. We have whipped up a couple of other characters as well, and I wanted to share that because I've seen the product reviews that are awesome. I've seen a bunch of live plays, actual plays that are phenomenal. I haven't seen any how-tos yet on creating characters. This is always a daunting task because it usually takes a while, but we're going to try and fly through it as fast as we can without being too confusing. And as always, pause the damn video if you need to somewhere to read something that I'm covering. We're going to have the PDF up. We're going to have our Google Doc up before we actually fill out our character sheet to make sure that it's nice and tidy, neat, all in one place. I'm going to get right through it. First thing you do is create a character. Take some time to look through any core rulebook to get a general sense of what you want to be. Like I said earlier, we're doing a corporate kid who is a hacker. So, running through, doing it live as we do. Step 1. Determine your ability scores. You know what to do. You can roll them. There's a nice set stat array down below in step 1 that you can use. I rolled mine. Here they are. So let's bring this all the way up. This all the way in. We did raw rolls. We actually applied them as well. We'll get into that a little bit more. But I did hand by hand, I rolled all of these. Legit, no joke. And here, if something that you would like to see in the future, we do have a live dice cam where I have my monstrosity you can take and think about that. You know, something you'd like to see, do it live. This is kind of not pre-generated. I went through and did a bunch of research, more or less. So we have our raw rolls, which you've already determined. So that's going to enable us to cruise through it nicely. Step 2, choose your origin. Now, when you think about your origin, where you're from, what you look like, you know, what was your childhood like? You know, these are all RP things that play a role, make for flavor in the game. You have two hackers. It could be from two different backgrounds, doing two totally different things, two totally different mindsets. Or you could have hacker twins, brother, sister, sister. Go wild with your imagination. When you go through and you pick your origin, it goes and you can affect your ability scores, how fast you move, features, and stuff like that. So, jumping down, this is what we want to be. Corporate kid, right? Basically, children run through for-profit orphanages. True cyberpunk, alright? Sounds pretty grim to me, alright? Love it. So they basically give you an identity as you're a piece of corporate machinery, for lack of a better term. Oftentimes they'll use nicknames, and we have our name already picked out, as well as our nickname, because I said we thought ahead a little bit, as I like to do. So you can see here immediately you get traits, right? You're going to get some kind of perk. You're going to get some kind of buff, depending on whatever origin you play. So it takes your time to look through them, think about what you want to be. Corporate kids are very well educated, so naturally higher intelligence and technology. As you can see here, increase by 2, tech increased by 1. Live to be a little bit older than most. Basic, you know, healthcare and stuff. Live to 110. Speed is 30. Languages, English and 2 others. So what we've done is essentially down in our cheat sheet here, We put out a bunch of different things, right? Name, corporation, order, class, vice, all this stuff we'll get into, but we're looking now at our origin, right? So, making quick notes, you're a corporate kid, like I said, int +2, tech +1, speed 30. And these are the languages we picked: English, Chinese, and Korean. Within the book, there's a language table of all the languages spoken in the world itself. About those. Take a minute or two. Pause if you need to. Now here you can see this role down here. There's also role in your background that we'll get to a little bit down the line, but this is essentially something you're going to want to go through with your GM. Let them know, hey, this is something I was thinking about doing. Is it cool? Is it not? For all intents and purposes of this video, thinking a net running Envoy. Okay? Because you'll see why I chose Envoy as well down below when we get into the class as you level and get older and bigger. So the sub-origin here, as we get back to finishing up what the origin's all about, you get to pick like basically two subpaths, sub-origins, right? High flyer and sleeker. Well, we went high flyer, and we picked that because that gives us a tier 1 augmentation for free from the jump. So, see here, you may pick a tier 1 augmentation of your choice related to the role you were given by your handler. Handler is something else you can discuss with your GM. All RP stuff, history, backstory, where you came from, life path, whatever you want to call it. All very, very important to have an engaging story. So we get through, and that's pretty much it. We jump back to character creation in our next step, right? We did ability scores, we did origin. No. Corporate kid. Our ability scores are here. We rolled them. We haven't applied them yet, but we will. So now we're done 1 and 2. 3 is generate a vice. This is pretty cool because this adds for specific role-playing stuff that you would like to do. And work with your GM however you wish to create a plethora of vices. They have a vice table in the back of this thing, which is amazing. I went too far. Right there. Vices. So you basically D100 can roll it, and there's pages upon pages upon pages upon pages, 100 of them, right? A couple pages, 4 pages, I think. And there's some really, really good ones in here. I read through a ton of these. I actually did the rolls for it, and the roll that we got for our vice, is if anyone knew what I had done, they would have to be eliminated before spreading what they know. Very interesting vice to contribute to some RP. So after we pick our vice, basically what it is you go roll 3 times, roll the D100 3 times. Skill, vices. 3 times, and then pick one of the 3. So I did a bunch of different rolls. I actually made up a couple of separate side tables for picking out a subset of these vices to roll on instead of the whole 100, tailoring them to specific origins, classes. So, flipping the script just a little bit. Man, but once you do that, simple enough, make sure you note it. Write it down. Once that's done, we can now apply our ability scores, taking into account all the bonuses and all that good stuff, which we have done. Basically using all of these. Them out just a little bit so we can kind of see them all in one shot, right? So we are a hacker. We need intelligence, technology, and I kind of leaned into people skills a little bit here for, like charisma type, persuasion, seduction type roles, right? How well do you get along with people? And then dexterity, constitution, and strength. Obviously our strength is a -1 because we are weak as fuck. But that's fine. We're not looking to punch anybody in the throat. We're not looking to kick anybody through the chest. We get in the net. Jack in. Alright? That's how we get shit done. So you can see I just for shits and giggles, I rolled them by hand, wrote them down, and then apply them accordingly, taking into account all the bonuses. Don't forget. And once you're done doing that, you can take into your background and determine your age. So this is what I was talking about with your background generation now. So our background is basically a technician. Okay. And before I even get down here, go background generation. So there's a couple of different added perks. Not only do these add levels of RP, but they also give things like loot, belongs, right? You need your cash money. One longs, determining roles. You can get other parting gifts. One of the big ones is skills, specific skills you will get from that role and or background. So for us as a technician, this is kind of where we stopped on the back end because we wanted to do a little bit of this on the fly. So as you can see, we have class stuff is pretty much empty. We know what we're going to be, but we haven't fleshed it all out yet. And the same thing with background, right? So I wanted to take a quick step because the other stuff is self-explanatory, right? You're doing your ability points, back history, life path to create characters for RP. That's all plugging in the numbers, right? Simple enough. It's when you get down here in the background generation, you start to get into some additional roles. And I'm curious to see how they play out live. So, let's check it out. Okay, so background generation begins. Doing it live. Contract terms run, and you basically determine those on rolls. It's very, very, very interesting. Be good, could be bad. So what we're going to do first is we're actually going to do our injury roll. So once every term you have to roll to see if you're injured or not. If you are not injured, you serve your contract term successfully. You get a payout at the end. Wages, we're not going to get to that yet. We will get to those. In addition to that, after each successful contract term is serviced, you get a skill. So on the jump, this is a little heavy on the front end. You could get loaded, or you could get gimped. Happens with rolls. So first and foremost, we went and back to our Google Doc again. You can see our DC is 6. So for down here, we're looking at our technician. Here is our stat block basically. So when we roll our injury, we got to roll a 6 or higher. These are the skills we can get. Languages, tools we'll get into after the fact. One of your choice, a language or a tool. Or is that languages and tools? I'm going to give one of your choice for each. One language, one tool. Again, roll the wages. That's what we're going to roll for successful terms. Different roles, no parting gifts, and then retirement payout. So after 4 terms, we can collect up to 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you can see for each additional term, here's a breakdown of the roles. Mech repair, vehicle maintenance, mech assembly. I'm not going to get too into detail. They're kind of self-explanatory, but this was kind of the best one to pick for a hacker, I thought. This is my opinion, of course. You're free to interpret as you wish. So based on those, we're going to go back to our Google Doc. I'm actually going to roll these out now. So, first roll, then roll 1. We got to roll 2d6. We get basically... Let's just make sure it is for when we get our rolls. 2d6 and add half your intelligence modifier. Round it up. Right? So just double check. Intelligence modifier is a +4. See how this could get crazy? So half of that is 2. So we're going to be adding 2 to our rolls. Alright? Go over to the live dice cam. These are our dice. Got the one beautiful collector's edition. Got the little gun on it. Awesome. That's the carbon 2185 dice. Then we got another random black, red. So we'll roll these. First rolls up. 7. 7 and 2 is 9. Immediately off the first roll, we hit it. So our first roll is successful. Let's roll 1. A total of 9. And that's a success against the DC, right? So do another one. Roll number 2. Right. Maybe we'll be successful, maybe we won't. 6 on the flat roll. We beat it anyway. Go back at 6 plus 2. Roll number 3. We're already that's a second contract term now. Successful. So we'll get loot for that. We'll get to that a little bit later. Alright, so I'm gonna take it up, grab those dice. We're gonna hit up dice cam for roll number 3. 5. So on the flat roll we didn't make it. However, our plus 2 intelligence modifier, half rounded up, gives us a 7. See, this is ridiculous. Right. That's roll number 3, total of 7. So now that's 3 successful contract terms. I'm gonna keep rolling until we fail because why wouldn't you? There's no limitation, right? I think that may be a little bit OP. However, you could fail your first roll. You never know. So, all right, roll number 4. We are now venturing on to our 4th contract term. 7. That's good. We'll take it. See, now when do we stop? Stop now? Total of 9 with the plus 2. Roll number 5. 8. 10 total. So you can see automatically, not automatically, but you can see how this gets pretty crazy. So we're gonna bring it back. You know what? 5 successful terms. Put in that 10 there for us so we can see it. 5 successful terms is pretty darn good if you ask me. Okay. So now, based on these rolls, we've done 5 terms. So we're going to come down to our technician. And for each of these, the reason why I put a spot in the Google Doc for each of them is because we can pick one skill every time we level up. We're basically we're going to do perception, hacking, and mechanics. Want to do gambling and persuasion. This way, we can note them as we go through and bring them back. Fill in that character sheet all nice. Sitting at the table, right? Right. The language and tools, we're not going to get into those yet, but here's the wages. So at the end, I'm going to go back it up really quick. Done our injury rolls, grabbed our skills, we'll do language and tools. Wages here. Wages are paid at the end of each contract term. Wages are paid at the end of each contract term. We just did 5 terms. Okay? We get a payout for each one. So our wage is 2d4. And I do happen to have those standing by idly, of course. 2d4 times 7. So we need to roll that 5 times. Correct? Correct, because we did 5 terms. Okay, 5 total. Then we're going to put our total cash over here once we're done rolling. But multiplying them by 7, right? Yes. So 2d4 times 7,000, right? All right. D4s are going to be tough. Or you can't really see the D4s. Those are bad to roll. Kind of see him, but kind of not, so yeah, we're just going to keep it back on the other for now. So that's a 4. So the first one 4 times. So the first one here is the roll for 4x7, right? Next one, and they're all times 7. So 3 times 7. 3 times 7. We should be doing this down in the wages too. I think that's what I'm gonna do next time. Wow, that's actually a 7. Big rolls. Big rolls. Lots of wands. Come on. 6. Take that 2. Nice. 7. All of these now are gonna transfer down to our wages. So we're gonna do first term. Second, third, fourth. Okay. And then we're just going to do this in terms. This, tighten up just a little bit. So the first term, 4 times 7. So, first term, 4 times 7, it's 28K. Second one is 3 times 7, that's 21K. Again, 21K. Fourth is 7 times 7, I believe that is 9. Oh, 42. Now, total starting loot. Okay, this is total starting wages here. Figure that all out. 28, 1, 21, 9. That's 161,000. 161K. And also being that we went through to the 5th term, also get retirement payout. There's no parting gift, we saw that, and the retirement payout. 5 terms, that's an additional 45,000 won longs. Okay, a lot of cheddar. All right, well, we're gonna put it in there. 5 terms successfully, 45 terms. 45K bonus. We got that 161 plus 45. Total is 206. 106K. That's a pretty decent chunk if you ask me. Okay. Now, we were successful in that last roll, so we just stopped. We could have kept going, which is really, really OP. So I think you definitely need to sit down with your GM to discuss this, as the individual homebrew rules may change. I know I would change them. I would definitely put a cap on this. Alright. So you can see, in addition to that, all the skills here. For each of them, we're actually going to cut them out. We're just going to paste them in here. Have them all. We're going to remove the actual multiplication because we added those in already. As you can see, those. Which one? Rolls are nice to look at. So we know for reference. Just like we did with our ability scores too. Right? Total here. Total here 5. Total to 5 terms. This is this plus this equals this. That's a really good chunk because now that gives us the ability to choose our tools, weapons, armor, and stuff like that. That's a good chunk right there of the character creation process. You still see there's a bunch more to go too, so I'm kind of glad we really skipped through some of the early stuff because it was really self-explanatory. You know how to roll the dice, you know how to apply your ability scores and modifiers. All those tables are in the book. Now it's our actual role is going to be. Again, there's no clarification on. Do you get all three? Do you pick just one? Just make sure here. Role you perform in your career helps you visualize these kinds of activities you may have partaken. Each career has 3 listed roles. These are only suggestions and are not the only roles in those career paths. You may work with your GM to create a role of your own. So, while having those there as a technician is great, I'm keeping this role as a solid overflow role of net running envoy. I'm not too worried about like mech assembly. I'm not too worried about repair or vehicle maintenance for that matter. Not that kind of hacker. Not that kind of technician, quote unquote. Throw some air quotes up in there. Well, now we've pretty much gone through everything else we need to in terms of background generation. The only thing left now is language and tools. So we're going to grab those really quick. I think we get one of each. One of your choice. A language or a tool. So here, again, I would homebrew the shit out of this to GM discretion with player discussion, obviously. For someone that would roll 5 career terms, contract terms like I just did, I would say, okay, now you choose one or the other, a language or a tool, not both. But to someone that rolled and say failed and got injured on the first term, I would give them the option to, I would say, have both, right? Balance it out a little bit. It's not super OP both ways, right? And it's not super nerfed the other way. But after all is said and done with the background generation, come creep right back up. That basically gives us all our loot. Class is going to be next, but before, we need tools. Tool and language. So we already have, what do we have? Language. In terms of language, English, Chinese, Korean. You know what? We're also going to toss, we're not actually going to toss a language. You already know 3. We're going to grab a tool instead. So the one tool we get to pick from a background generation, all the way down to tools, because we're going to be a hacker, we need the hacker's device, right? Of course we do. So that's what we're going to do here. That's free of charge. That doesn't cost us anything. Or does it, right? Again, talk to your GM about it. You rolled awesomely on your career terms. GM might have to say otherwise. And then here's the table for the cost. See down there. It's page 83. We're not getting any vehicles. What we also get, I think. Before we do that, let's make sure. Our one tool, let's come all the way back up to creation. That's right. Background generation is done. We picked everything that we need to. Roll, this is going to be NA because main role. Retirement payment we got. Languages, NA because we got the tool. Put our skills in so we know those for each term. Good. Background is done. Now, it's on to class. Well, I already told you, we're picking hacker, right? Let's jump down to hacker. Cool little bit of background on here that I'm not really going to go through and read in depth. Had some people go through some of them in the product reviews. But essentially, we went through and picked a bunch of this stuff out. Hit dice, 1d8 per level. Hit points at first level 8 plus your constitution modifier. And then higher level hit points in your starting proficiencies. See all of these. Basically, light armor helmets, melee weapons, pistol, submachine guns, and shotgun. Your saving throw is mined. And now is we get to choose from 3. Okay, 3 of these. So what we've already done, we haven't done computer. I think we're going to grab that because if we look back, we check the skills from our background generation. Perception, Let's do a little comma so I know which is which. Perception, hacking, mechanics, gambling, and persuasion. So what we want is computing, sense motive, and stealth. Right? So up here, computing, sense motive, and stealth. Those, we know our, this is our mind, is our saving throw. Hey, Windows, chill. Right? Want to see is hit points 1d8 per hacker level. Points 8 plus Constitution modifier. So our Constitution modifier is not good. I think it's just 0. Yeah, so there is none. So basically we're gonna have 8. We're gonna have 8 hit points, which is not good. Our hit dice is 1d8. Proficiencies, not a whole lot. Armor and weapons, light armor helmets, melee pistols, and submachine guns and shotguns. Let's put that in there. Let's do light. Helmet. Templates. Melee pistols, submachine guns. Shotguns. Right? The machine gun shotgun. Same way. Picked out our skills. Exploits we're going to get to in a minute. And as you can see here, proficiency is going to give us a +2 at first level. Up to 5th level, we start at +3. You can see we get these exploits, and we're going to get into that in just a second. Botnets are how many times you can use a certain exploit. So we get down to our exploits. You can see these. You're able to perform exploits using available botnets, right? So if you don't have any botnets, you can't do any exploits. So there's a whole bunch, and they scale based on your level. You can jack them up even more. But for us, our path that we're leaning towards being the type of hacker that we want to be, we get 2 exploits. First one is going to be comms blackout, and then computer interface. Immediately, comms blackout, computer interface. Okay. Abilities, we get this healing ability at level 1, which is really kind of weird, but not. Hack together a basic version of a medical implant using illicit parts or plans stolen or bought from the net. Using an action, can touch a creature. That creature regains a number of hit points. So I can't just touch this healing myself. I can heal party members too, which is crazy. So it's the 1d8 plus a tech modifier, which our tech modifier is second best. +2, which is nice. The 1d8 plus 2 healing. I'm actually going to write that up in healing. So we essentially got, it's a 1d8 plus 2. Alright, our specialty is nothing yet, because that happens higher levels. We get to split. Mastery, universal training, blah 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 blah. Our hacker specialty, see, this is at 3rd level. So this is something you want to look at in advance. Obviously we're not going to get this until level 3, but this is something you want to think about and plan out. Combat hacker or a robomancer. Okay, we're going combat hacker because we don't want to build drone. Okay, so the robomancer, you can build companions, drones, whatever, and then build more at like higher levels, which is crazy awesome. But we want to go with a combat hacker. We want to combine gunplay and hacking, right? So we can do a comms blackout, shoot somebody in the face. Or we can hack and shoot, shut them down. Or we're trying to find out where we got to jack in and get safe while we're connected. So we're going combat hacker. And one of the cool things, actually a bunch of cool things here. Weapon proficiency. additional weapon proficiency at 3rd level, and a fighting style. You can see marksman, defensive, point blank shooter. This kind of is depending on how you want. Do you want to be a marksman? You want to be defensive? No, going to be jacked up with armor. For me, I would go defensive just to keep up armor if I need to take shots while I'm hacking some shit. So essentially, all we're going to do is just because we're not going to plan it out yet. We don't get it till level 3. We're just noting. So we know. So that runs through a good majority of the class, right? And after we're done doing class, it's calculate all the modifiers and saving throws. We kind of did that a little bit in advance. Showed our proficiency. Our proficiency is a +2, and that's one thing we need to write. Let's see. Proficiency bonus, yeah, we need to put, so proficiency here, and then, oops. Our level, bonus, B-O-N-U-S, +2. Right, because if we want to go all the way to the sheet of the proficiency bonus, yep. Back. What we'll do is I will physically print this out and fill in details from the digital. Make it all nice. Scan it, save it. Right? So we did... Alright, so the gear and the calculate weight. That's the final step. Because we already have our name, which I will reveal if you haven't seen it already on the Google Doc at the end. But now we get into gear and weight. So we got a ton of loot. We have 206,000. I'm going to bold that out so I can see it. Tools, weapons, armor, and items. But one of the tools that we already have, we basically picked up from our background generation. Sorry, I was looking at this. We have a hacker's device, right? Well, what's the weight of the hacker's device? We need to know that. Tools. The hacker's device is half a pound. Pounds, baby. 0.5. Down here with the weight. Sub. Hacker's tool. We're actually going to do, just because to keep consistent, Hacker 2 is $0, but 0.5. Okay. But now let's take a look at what other tools. Disarmament kit, disguise kit. Well, our tier 1 augmentation that we picked is the hollow skin, or the what you call it? The holographic clothes. T1 skin augmentation, but basically 100 different outfits that we can change just by thinking about it. So, you know what? The other tool we're gonna grab a gambling set. We're gonna grab a forgery kit. All right, let's do that. Gambling set, forgery kit. Forgery kit is 1,000. How much does it weigh? 5 pounds. 5.0. Forgery kit. No, that's the gambling is 0.5. Right? Gambling is 10. 0. Forgery kit is 1,000. 5 pounds. 5 points. Right? So those are some tools. And then you can see you can do like disguise kit or disarming. We're not going to do any of that stuff. I think that's good in terms of items. Tools, so to speak. So, get up into some gear. Gear and armor and helmets, weapons and all that good stuff. really not going to take the time to go through all this because you can see we'll be here for another hour and a half. So, based on your wages, obviously you'll be able to buy more stuff for better wages. And that's essentially going to be it, running through the entirety of the creation process. Final piece, after everything is said and done, and minimize all these so next time I can speed through, because of course there's going to be a next time with additional characters, of course. But the last and final bit is choosing the name. So this has a little bit of weight on RP, how much backstory you have, how much life path you create, how much you're really going to get into this character and play it, right? So for mine, I went through, and being that I'm a corporate kid, basically what happens is once these corporate kids are assigned to the corporation, they get a corp ID or corp name. And being that this specific character was purchased by Houston Dynamics, their corp name is HODYN TAC 5309. Nickname Odin. Pronounced like the god, yes. But that's the name that this corp kid goes by, Odin. That ties into being a digital master, if you will. There's a bunch of other backstory I haven't shared with this. Nothing too crazy, but enough to make it meaty. There's going to be some others to come. So let me know what you think below. Good, bad, yay, nay, what I missed, what you want to see, possible additional footage. Base cam was pretty cool. I dig that. And I want to try and get through a bunch of these because there's quite an interesting array of classes and origins in this game. So be sure to like and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. All pertinent links are going to be down below for all my social media. Anything that I deem necessary, like World Anvil, Syrinscape, all that good stuff. So we will see you all next time.